like living on the North Shore, living on the beach here. All I have to do is look out the window and see which way the wind's blowing, see which way the swell's coming from, and I can figure out which surf spot's going to be good, and then I can plan the rest of my day accordingly.
Why must I feel like that? Why must I taste the cat? Nothing but the dog in me. Why must I feel like that? Why must I taste the cat? Nothing but the dog in me. Why must I feel like that? Why must I taste the cat? Nothing but the dog in me. Why must I feel like that? Why must I taste the cat? Nothing but the dog in me. Do the dog catch it, dog catch it. Do the dog catch it. Do the dog catch it, dog catch it. Do the dog catch it. Dog catch it, baby. Do the dog catch it. Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yay. Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yay. Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yay. Wow, wow, yippee, yippee-yay, yippee-yay. Just walking the dog. Oh, Tommy dog. Futuristic bow wow.
Jock Sutherland influenced me really a lot in my beginning years, but Lopez, you know, for what he's made himself today has really influenced me tremendously. All the boards I ride use shape. When there's both of us in the water, you know, we're constantly seeing each other get farther back in the tube, and we push each other to take off farther over, and you know, we do a lot for each other. He's done a lot for me, you know.
Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yo, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yo. Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yo, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yo. Wow, 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 yippee-yo, yippee-yo, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yo.
You know what Hawaii means? Aloha.
Rory Russell is a true legend, and in the 70s, along with Jerry Lopez, they pretty much redefined what you could do surfing at Pipeline.
Rory the dog Russell. What a nice guy, happy. You automatically think of the lightning bolt and a couple of pipe masters. Just a funny, charismatic, just one of the full-on characters of surfing for sure.
Today we're going to talk to Rory about his famous or infamous pipeline special surfboard that pretty much defined a whole era. All right, here we are with Rory Russell and the happiest man alive, I think.
I'm here in Hawaii on the North Shore. What can you
Where can
say?
you go wrong? But,
50 years on the North Shore.
This is somebody who I hold dear in my thoughts and heart, and we're here to talk about this board you got right here.
Well, basically, this pipeliner is a special edition pipeliner, and basically this is what has evolved from what we came up with at first started working at the pipe. And it actually was the board that Jerry had at the Expression Session in 1969, I think.
Wow.
It had the right rocker in it, it had the right outline where it fit into the wave, it had the V-bottom so you could make your nice smooth turn. Before they were too straight and too wide, they didn't have pintails, and basically you're just purling on every wave. And so basically this is just an evolution of that. Once you find that right board, that right kind of design, you don't want to change it if it works.
It ain't broke.
Yeah, don't fix it, you know. This was one I gave to Garrett McNamara, and he just went out the back door and just blew everybody's mind. I was stoked to see him ride. I was like having a baby watching somebody ride your board, man. It was happening. And then I made one for Jason Federico, a 4-pin.
Oh, yeah.
One of the new ones, and he just said it was the best board he ever had.
I seen him charging on that.
I saw him on his first wave he caught, and I almost had a heart attack.
Yeah.
I was just going, oh no, don't kill yourself already. I was really fortunate because we were basically on the same thing, the same surf team, you know, the Lightning Bolt surf team. So Jerry'd make a bunch of boards, and then I'd get to, you know, take my pick of them, which was unbelievable. You know, what a wonderful thing. Yeah. And then it got to the point where I broke too many of them. He said, "I'm tired of you breaking my boards. Here's a planer, make your own."
Right.
You know, but I had been shaping previous to that, so it was more of a thing of necessity because nobody would be breaking their boards anymore. It's way different than the first board I surfed the pipeline when I was 12 years old. It was a 9-foot orange Hobie that I shared with my sister. And I hung 5 at the pipeline. It was onshore about 3 feet, 4 feet, and I was with some friends of mine from Haleiwa Surfing Association. We had a surf club in Haleiwa back then. And they took me out of the pipeline. I was 12 years old, scared to death. Yeah. But I ran up and hung 5 on the wave at the pipeline. Everybody goes, "You're supposed to get in the tube." Oh, God. Well, I hung 5 at the pipe anyhow. That's an 8.6.
Wow. Keep that one out for a second.
I had a big wave. I got to thank Uncle Sam for sending my dad here. My father was a very highly decorated military officer. I ran away from home when we moved to Hawaii because I didn't want to come to Hawaii. I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. No way. Yeah, instead I became a surfing champion. But
awesome.
Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah, there were 3 seconds. There was an interference call. I got second to Larry Blair. But actually Jerry took off behind me.
And defending champion Rory Russell. This will be his 7th pipeline Masters.
And just got this perfect wave.
And here comes Rory Russell, the defending champion. Oh, I thought he lost it, but he's still there.
Came out and went 3 years in a row. This was mine. Then I looked in the whitewater and there was Jerry. And I was so bummed out. I just sat in the channel and just waiting for the pedal. I go, "Man, I asked you if you had it." And he goes, "I'm not like you, doggy. I don't have a big mouth that I can yell when I'm paddling." I just went, "That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard in the world." This is my home. I mean, I grew up, I went to high school. Yeah. I live across the street from the high school now. I spent all those years trying to stay away from that place, and now I live right across the street from it. Cool. But the ironic thing is, I did my science project, my senior year in high school, on surfboard design. I had little foam surfboards and different pintails, and that was my science project. And now, 42 years later, I'm across the street doing what I did in my science project, only on a full scale. Yeah. Aloha, brother.
I guess you could sum it up that I'm a lot like the ocean, and that would be that I'm pretty free and easy, and that I'll always be a surfer, and I'll always be looking for the perfect wave.
It is the greatest gift in the world. People just explode when they surf. Everybody dreams of riding a wave. Yeah. And 90% of them don't think they can, but they can.
Lightning Bolt was first started around 1970-71 with Jack Shipley and Jerry Lopez.
There were a lot of shaper gypsies out on the North Shore that were blowing soul out there, and there was no stage. They knew how to shape, but they didn't know how to sell their boards.
We never had a factory. What we had was this whole bunch of backyard surfboard builders that were, you know, working out of garages or their backyard or just little, you know, makeshift shops that they put together.
So Lopez and Shipley decided that that was an opportunity. They could do this kind of underground co-op kind of deal, and so they started a surf shop called Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt Unlimited Surf Company Incorporated. And that was the beginning of it. That was the name we came up with. Jack was a salesman and he ran the shop. I was a shaper.
There were so many shapers that came in to help start Lightning Bolt, and really what it was pretty much a collection of independent shapers.
Kent Smith, Tommy Nellis, Tom Everly, those guys were all really great board builders, you know, and they were really into it. I mean, it was a good job for them because they could, you know, go surfing when the surf was good. That's why we had the job.
There's no more significant symbol than the Lightning Bolt. I mean, people have racked their brains trying to come up with a better trademark, a better brand, and there is none, especially for surfboards. I mean, Lightning Bolts on surfboards just make it, you know.
The Lightning Bolt slash was something that I used to doodle on as I was talking on the phone, you know, and I kind of made that design.
It became just a major trademark of the whole surfing world.
If anybody were to want a surfboard and to have it graphically, you know, produced, everybody's going to want a Lightning Bolt on their surfboard.
All through the 70s and into the early 80s, most good surfers were riding a Lightning Bolt.
You know, Lightning Bolt basically defines surfing. It represents the surfing cult as it is, you know, and what it stands for. That excitement, that energy, you know, that surfers have that other people just don't quite get, you know.
Whether it was Tom Parrish shaping them, or Jerry, or Rory, or many of the other great shapers they had, it represented, it was the gold symbol of surfing. It was the most prestigious thing that you could be involved with.
This is something very, very special, very unique.
The guys that started it were really good people, and just kind of knowing them now as an adult and thinking about, you know, the history of Lightning Bolt, I just feel super honored to be part of it because I was absolutely like starstruck for Lightning Bolt as a child.
I always hate using this phrase, and I sucker myself into it. It's like it was yesterday.
It was sort of like the beginning of a culture. And we didn't know we were beginning anything. We were just doing what we did.
Back then we were into a lot of psychedelics and mind-expanding drugs. And money and monetary physical things were meaningless. You know, we were more into the inner spirit and reaching that inner spirit through surfing. And that was our key access to that inner spirit, was the surfing experience. Which came out pretty well. That was pretty good.
We were hippies back then, and everybody was kind of, you know, on their own time schedule and their own program.
Running Lightning Bolt, it's a goofy thing to say, but some people will agree with me. It's like going surfing.
What we hoped, you know, was that we'd create this job that would pay for this lifestyle that we like, to be able to go surfing when the waves were good. You didn't have surfline.com back then, where you could, you know, have a forecast 10 days out or 2 weeks out. You went down in the morning to the beach and you looked and, oh, the surf's good today. I want to go surfing.
I think what happens with surfing, whether you come flying out of a barrel or you do some kind of maneuver that you know, surprises yourself and you complete it, and there's just this euphoric feeling afterwards, and it's a feeling of regeneration. It's like your perspective for the rest of that day is uplifted.
And if you had a job like building surfboards, you know, the customers were already trained that, oh, if the surf's really good, I got to wait a little longer for my board to get done, because the shaper, the glasser, you know, everybody's going to go surfing. And that was the nature of the business at that time.
Those summer days when the surf's really good, if there was no one around 7:30, I would lock the door, put a little sign that said, "Be right back," which we used to hide it. And then I would jump in the water. I could be out at Kaiser's or Bowls in under 15 minutes.
You just find ways to prioritize things so that every day you can get in the water and experience a little bit of that at least. And so it becomes a lifestyle real fast, and you know, it's really something that enhances your perspective, I think.
Not a bad day. I wish I had them all over again. I dream of having that kind of a lifestyle. It was just too much fun.
The best thing in the world.
Starting in 1974 and going into the 80s, Lightning Bolt was up to about $12 million a year and about to go from a surf brand to a big deal.
You know, Lightning Bolt, we went in two different directions, you know, as far as our approach to surfing. We wanted to go do the soul surfing thing, which was Jerry and Rory going off to Bali or wherever and doing their thing, and then the contest surfing thing.
When Lightning Bolt started to get really big, then it became a real job. Then something happened.
And if you look through the original ads of the Lightning Bolt Surf Company, 1509, Kapiolani Boulevard, Honolulu, Hawaii, and then you'll see the back cover where it says the Bolt Corporation. And that was basically the demise of Lightning Bolt, is when it went from a soulful surf company into a Bolt Corporation. And then you had all these people that were just seeing how much potential this had, and they all wanted to get a bigger piece of the pie, and it turned into an ugly scene.
One of the things Duke wanted to do was put his office in a motorhome, which he kept on the beach at San Onofre. And the Garmentos in Woodland Hills thought that was just unacceptable. That was so frivolous, so impractical, such a waste of money. For Duke, it was like putting the heart of the brand in the sand on the beach, you know, making it real, keeping it real. But that was too abstract for them. And so they had it, and they wanted to take over Lightning Bolt, buy Duke out and get rid of him.
And that's where things went astray.
And to be honest with you, the kind of person that I was really set the stage for it being a loose company. Although it was very, very successful and appropriate at the time, it wouldn't have transferred into today's world.
Surfers go surfing because they love it, you know, and surfing is this ultimate free thing. And when you try and mix business in surfing, you know, something happens that is kind of like oil and water. They don't quite go together.
So they went to Lopez and offered him $300,000 for his 10%, which would give them a majority stock position, and they could kick Duke out.
And Jerry bailed. He was, you know, he just cashed out. And the rest of us stuck with it with Duke Boyd.
Maybe if I had to do it all over again, I might do it different. Afterwards, I felt that I just kind of bailed out and ran, whereas if I was a little bit more of a responsible person, I would have probably, or should have hung in there and tried to put it back together and you know, continue it, because it was a great company.
Jack still had the shop, and he was like going, guys, the shop's not going anywhere. Come on, help me here, back me up. And for whatever reasons, which I was never privy to, the backup didn't come.
That was the end of Lightning Bolt. Jerry and Duke have never spoken. They're enemies.
The corporation thing is what destroyed Lightning Bolt.
The soul of those things is very delicate. And if you put the flame out, it's hard to get it lit again.
Corporation and surfing just don't go hand in hand. Surfing is too much of an individualistic type experience, a religion type thing. It has nothing to do with money. And unfortunately, people can't see that.
It slowly, quietly, gently went into the night. It just went on its own.
It seemed like surfing was changing so fast at the time. Professional surfing was really kind of where the media was focused and the surfing world at large. And Lightning Bolt was always kind of a reluctant player in that situation. They didn't really see themselves as, you know, fitting into the whole professional surfing image as much. They weren't really willing to pursue it from that angle.
And it was replaced by not just one new brand or one new logo or one new look that replaced the Lightning Bolt. It was the sport shifting, the sport changing.
All those guys were good at what they were doing and so forth, but their whole attitude wasn't designed to go off and win contests.
So maybe you could say it was a case of like not changing with the times, but you know, that just wasn't what Lightning Bolt was about. It was a pure source, and everything that it was in the 70s and early 80s, it just wasn't willing to adapt to as professional surfing evolved right into the later 80s and into the 90s.
Lightning Bolt lay relatively fallow until Jonathan Paskowitz saw in Lightning Bolt a chance to resurrect a brand and bring it back to market.
I ran into a guy that had worked for me years ago, and he said, hey, I know a guy that's got the real deal Lightning Bolt, and you might be the perfect person for him to work with. And just one thing led to another. I met this guy, and he actually had Lightning Bolt, and I said, I'll help you if you want to bring it back, with respect and honor to the brand that's the most important surfing brand of all time. And he didn't know what it was. I showed him like kind of what the DNA was, and we both kind of agreed to do that. And it's amazing, you know. It's amazing, the heroicness of it.
It's pretty hard to resuscitate a brand that went over the arc and was bouncing down here. But it's not impossible. And retro things have an appeal to some extent too.
A lot had to kind of be decided with it, you know. Everybody, when you started a surf brand, if you started a surf brand and called it whatever you wanted, everything that you did would be perfect from that moment going forward. All of your ideas, all of your precognition about what it should be and how it should feel, that would all be coming from you spontaneously correct. Where when you take over a name that has a history 40-something years behind you, now granted I knew the history and I was part of it, but I wasn't Jerry Lopez, I wasn't Jack Shipley, you know. I was a little, you know, cocoon nut on the beach looking at those guys, up at them going, holy mackerel.
it's really sort of funny, but in a goofy kind of way, there's no way you could ever sum it up. If you asked every single guy over the age of, let's say, 50 years old and say, what did lightning bolt mean to you back then? They would each person have a different view, a different emotional thought about what the lightning bolt was as a symbol.
The soul of surfing now lies within those people who were there because they think that way, you know? Whereas surfing really in the days that I was involved was more of a soulful thing, a relationship with the wave and the relationship with just chasing the wave.
When I look back on it, I really have a lot of good memories, and I think of the shapers, I think of the surfers, and I think of the time that represented.
And I think everybody that was associated with Lightning Bolt in the beginning, you know, at some point would go, man, those were some really good times.
And the thing is, Lightning Bolt's will always be in my blood, you know, it's just something that's ingrained in me.
And it was really a great time to be a surfer, and a great time to be evolving as a surfer and be a part of that.
I look back on our generation of surfing compared to the generation before us and the generations that followed, and I truly believe that we had it the best.
God. Oh, it was the best. It was really just, would I do it over again? In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat with about a dozen of my friends, for sure.